Hello and welcome to another episode of CryptoTime. My name's James Coughlan and I'm on my own today running through one prominent bit of news that has been cropping up over news and media over the last week or so. This is a huge one. We've had some real political and geopolitical situations taking place across the globe, and that is about a drone strike that was facilitated by US President Donald Trump on Iran. And the real question that's being asked across the crypto community at the moment is what acts as a great safe haven at the moment? Is Bitcoin going to be the future of safe havens, or is it going to be something along the lines of what we've always used throughout the past, which is gold? So let's have a look at the headlines. This was from CoinDesk.com. Bitcoin's recent price jump after US killing of a top Iranian general has rekindled a long-running debate among investors. Whether it will work as a safe haven asset like gold in times of heightened geopolitical turmoil and also economic problems that have been taking place. So the cryptocurrency changed hands around 7,500 on Monday, up to 10% since Iranian's top general was killed in a lethal drone strike authorized by US President Donald Trump. The US stocks fell on the news of investors worried really about the conflict that had been taking place and obviously what was going to come through and actually how was this going to affect people's portfolios overall. For some market analysts and investors, Bitcoin's rally serves to underscore the digital asset's perceived value as a hedge against inflation. Historically, an economic consequence of major wars, oil prices jumped in the aftermath of the killing. What we've seen the United States do over the last 10 years or so is actually really try and bolster up what they're doing in terms of having to depend on certain other jurisdictions to actually gain their oil reserves. Now, this has been something that's been interesting because North Dakota, their back and shale oil fields have really been kicking off over the last 10 years or so. And now they are finding it less and less important to actually depend on other jurisdictions to gain oil. So that argument that Iran had before has become less of an argument today. That's not to say that it's gone away, because it certainly hasn't, but the US has made themselves more dependent on their own resources from their own places, which is good to see. What I want to do now is just give a World War II example. Really the question that I'm asking here is what works best in situations of turmoil? If, for example, there was a run on the Bank of England in some sort of capacity, what would we do with the gold holdings that we currently have? I know gold has been an interesting subject due to obviously Gordon Brown selling off a lot of it, but there is still a small amount there, and what would we do and how would we deal with that? So let's go back to World War II and what happened. The UK ended up evacuating billions of dollars worth of gold, bullion and other assets across the Atlantic, all to be kept safely in Canada. The mission, codenamed Operation Fish, is still the largest movement of physical wealth in history. So now let's spark the question, and this is something that I want to engage with you guys as listeners all about as well. And that's whether, for example, if we were to have World War III spark up and we did need to move assets, what would you prefer to be holding as a safe haven at this moment in time? Now, let's look at the attributes of gold. We have a long track record, we have a finite supply, we have difficult to mine, just like Bitcoin, as we all know out there, proven track record to work as a safe haven as well, and we also have a stable price point, which has been proven year upon year since gold really has been in existence. Gold has been used for over 4,000 years now. We have the Egyptians that used it, many years ago as well. So we know that it's a very, very used asset, and it has been used throughout time as well, which is good to obviously speak about. When we look at Bitcoin and we look at obviously the attributes that we have on that side, what we have is Bitcoin private keys. So in essence, if we look at, for example, the way that we'd move gold, in essence, if we had a large value of gold, like a company's worth of gold that attributed to say 5 or 6 million, what in essence we would have to do is put that all into a wheelbarrow and move that across. It's not particularly easy. So how would that happen in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world? Well, what we have is private keys, and those private keys we can obviously take with us. So in essence, we could actually cross borders with hundreds of millions, if not billions, in funds without actually having the situation that we have within gold at this moment in time. So I think that's a real interesting subject to look at and the way that it works. One theory among Bitcoin investors is that while cryptocurrency lacks gold's luster or long track record as a store of value, it shares key properties of being difficult to mine. The supply of Bitcoin is strictly regulated by its 11-year-old programming code. What's more, some Bitcoin advocates note that private data addresses or keys needed to spend cryptocurrencies would theoretically be far more portable than gold bars, which I think is a very obvious statement there. But even among fully committed crypto traders, it remains an open debate as to whether Bitcoin actually trades as a safe haven asset or not. Is it going to be going back to traditional gold that we know, we understand, and we've used for hundreds and hundreds of years? Or are we going to think that the future is actually now down the digital route, which is Bitcoin? Let me hear your thoughts and what your stance is on that. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Crypto Time. If you are liking the content that you are catching from Bitstocks TV at the moment, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification button so you can always see the latest and greatest coming from us. And also don't forget, if you prefer to listen, you can hear us on iTunes and Spotify. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Cheers. Bye for now.